Hello there, beautiful chaos gremlins, and welcome back to Engineering Chaos. As you can see, I am still very much co-host list. I lied to y'all. But first, welcome back to Engineering Chaos, a podcast where normally my co-host and I will talk about life as female engineers, give career advice coming up to the... Wow, I can't even say our opening this week. It's a mess, guys. Give career advice to those coming up behind us, and talk about corporate America as it continues to screw us all. Well, that was a struggle to get out. So, as you can see, if you're watching on YouTube, I am still co-hostless. It'll be at least one more week before we get her back, and I am so very sad by this, and I have no plan for this week. None whatsoever, because I was expecting her to be back. So we're just going to wing it again and see what happens. I said some slightly controversial things last time I winged it. So we're just going to go with the flow and hope something magical miracle comes out of this. But first, an update on life. So for those who've been around since the beginning, you know I've been talking about this conference called Coaching Con since I started this podcast. Really, it's been since the beginning. I've been talking about Coaching Con and how I wanted to prep for Coaching Con and everything else. Long story short, my big run that I talked about and was so hype about went sideways very quickly. Life with mental health problems, I suppose. But I'm done with the excuses. I'm done absolutely duking my business every time I try to get momentum and every time I end up succeeding. That ends today. But really, it ended last weekend because last weekend I finally went to that conference. Like I said, I had to get into cosplay early last week because of that conference, and I spent 3 days surrounded by other fitness coaches and business moguls that are just mind-blowingly amazing people. I was not expecting a room full of coaches and, well, millionaires, for lack of a better way of putting it, to be so down to earth and to actually feel like I belonged in a community for once. I have been a fitness coach for 3-ish years now. I struggled giving a timeline just because I've been so inconsistent with it. I love my clients when I get them, but the process of getting the clients is impossible sometimes. And it gets really discouraging being in the online space sometimes when you're not perfectly ripped and trying to be a fitness coach. However, I went to Coaching Con and I realized these people aren't that different. I might be a total nerd. I might be into cosplay and gaming and audiovisual gear, but they don't care. All of our goals are the same, which is to make impact and hopefully start to change this obesity epidemic we're looking at. I look around at what I do as an engineer and I wonder how these people don't go insane sitting at their desks all day. I love working from home as an engineer because I don't have to sit at my desk all day. I can go for a walk around my neighborhood. I can get my walk pad out and walk and work. And I don't know how people sit at desks for 10 plus hours a day and not move. This world has changed drastically. We are moving in the wrong direction, and I want to be a part of that change. So that is a recap on Coaching Con. You might see a lot more of me. You might see, I don't know what the future holds right now, but I made some pretty big decisions and made my all-in moment happen at Coaching Con. And there's just a bunch of wild stuff going on in my life right now that I am excited for the future, but also terrified of what some of the decisions I made this weekend could mean. But for now, that is it on the update on me. Cosplay this week, I am going, well, that's not important, but the cosplay this week is Queen of Hearts, but it's my own rendition and going to be made entirely out of other materials I have around my house. I'm not buying anything new for this cosplay. As you can see, I have my wig for those watching on YouTube. I have my wig for this week in a half state. I haven't finished it yet, so that's going to be fun. But it'll be the Queen of Hearts, and then hopefully next week when we get the co-host back, I will be in cosplay as Alice. So That'll be fun and an adventure for us all. I'm going down the Disney rabbit hole, and first up is Alice in Wonderland because I literally have Alice in Wonderland tattooed all over me, and it's one of my favorite Disney franchises, but also the books and everything that goes with it. So that's kind of life update for me. I have zero plan, like I said, because I was expecting to have my co host back. So let's just talk about. I honestly have no idea, guys. I don't know what I want to talk about. And the world is kind of crazy right now. I find it absolutely insane that all of these companies are talking about record breaking profits, and yet we're all suffering and struggling. And most of us have to have side gigs, even working full time 40 hours. I don't understand how we've gotten to this place other than capitalism, but I don't want to say that that's purely the problem because capitalism, I guess overconsumption could be the problem with the obesity epidemic. I don't really know. I'm just kind of going on random tangents here and pointing back some of the things that I experienced at Coaching Con as a fitness coach and just being in the fitness space with engineering. Some of the most popular clips on social media right now from this podcast are when I'm calling engineers arrogant dickwads. Why? Why is it such a common thread that this industry is full of arrogant dicks? I've been saying it for a really long time, but I've also kind of jokingly said it. Have I met some really good people in this industry? Yes. I've also met and am related to some massive arrogant dickwads that are in this industry. I don't. Where does this come from? That's something I would like to explore. There's been a lot of theories in some of the comments on some of these clips about maybe it's the fact that we have to be so precise so that we think that we're perfect. And then there was comments in Reddit threads I was looking up last week of people saying that we just never got out of the freshman know-it-all mentality and how engineers are really the, as it was put, the business majors of the STEM world. And I don't exactly disagree. Like I said last week, being an engineer isn't hard, in my opinion, especially if you know how to bullshit. No one ever fact checks you in the real world, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, occasionally they'll fact check the analysis to make sure you don't harm anyone, but you could say something with a lot of confidence in this industry and get away with it, even if you were completely and totally wrong, because 9 times out of 10, the people in the room with you have no idea what you're talking about and can't fact check you. And I think that's the bigger problem with the industry right now because everything is moving so quickly. Management can't keep up. The senior engineers that are supposed to be teaching your junior engineers aren't keeping up with the times. So you have a bunch of junior engineers forced to learn how to do everything, not only for themselves, but for the entire program, because the people above them can't do the job that they're expecting of the junior engineers. But then those senior engineers get to be the ones judging the junior engineers on how they did their job. And they get to be the ones telling them at the end of the year that they didn't put enough work in, even though they literally could not do the job of the junior engineer if they tried. And that is just so absurd to me. And this isn't all upper management. I've had some great engineering managers and I've had some great engineering senior leads that have helped things out. But for the most part, in today's day and age, with the integration of AI and model based and digital transformation efforts, and I mean, for instance, everything is going model based in my world. Everything is transitioning. You look at your design reviews, you look at your quality checks and things like that. They're trying to integrate all of that into a model based world across the industry as a whole right now. But your senior leads don't even know how to use the tool they're doing model based out of. And this is more than just systems leads. Because they're trying to take model based across the board with every industry, systems is the only people that know how to use the tool and is now taking on the workload that previously would have been done in PowerPoint, for instance. With your electrical engineers and your mechanical engineers, systems now has to be the one to do all of that work. It's job security for your systems engineers, sure, but not forcing, in my opinion, not forcing your senior engineers on other disciplines to get involved in the digital transformation efforts and actually be an active participant early on or earlier on, because this has been a problem for several years now, is causing problems already. We are not even fully digitally transformed in the engineering industry right now. There are still a lot of people who are living in the dark ages of using Excel for everything. And you now are putting that extra workload with no extra pay on those systems engineers that actually do know what they're doing. Then you have management from program side, right? That say, I want this, but have no idea what work it's going to take to do it or how to even start doing it. And if you don't hire appropriately, you now have a team full of people who has no idea what they're doing, with a leadership team who also has no idea what they're doing. Are there resources to be able to counteract that? Sure, but they also have their own day jobs. Expecting junior engineers to now be the subject matter experts just because they pick up quicker is the wrong approach. I truly think that everything comes from the top down. Your culture on your teams comes from the top down. If you have really toxic management, the whole team is going to be toxic and you're going to lose people constantly because of it. Been there, got that t-shirt. But on top of that, your education starts from the top down. If you don't have and this is true in my fitness business, and it's something I'm focusing on a lot right now. If you don't have a good onboarding process for new people joining your team on how to get access to your tools, how to learn about the product you're working on, who to go to when you need information about certain specific things, and it's not clearly lined out, and you just say, hey, figure it out, you're never going to have a team that is well trained, knowledgeable in the product, and knowledgeable in the work you have to do. And putting team training solely on one individual that may or may not be an expert is unbelievably inappropriate and unethical, in my opinion. Not only are you not paying that individual to be a trainer, right? In other industries, being a trainer of new hires is an extra step to your job description. In this industry, it is just expected of you to train the new people coming in with no extra benefit, especially if you have to spend a lot of your time to be able to train that person. Not everyone picks up quick. The more senior, in my experience and in my opinion, the more senior an engineer is, the harder it is to train them on new ways, new tools, things like that. So now they're taking up, say, 50% of my time. It has been like this in the past, where 50% of my job is no longer being done because I am expected to train someone that was hired to do that job without the experience. And it's one thing to train on the product because every product is going to be new at some point in time to someone. Training them on the processes of the program, those vary from team to team. But when management makes decisions to hire people that have no experience in the thing that they're going to have to do on a day to day as a senior level, that is just wrong. And I saw somewhere on the Reddit threads when we were talking, when I was going through all of the Am I the Asshole stuff, that it is really hard to find mid level engineers that are good at what they do. And I completely and totally agree. I would never in my life hire some of the mid-level engineers. I had the choice. I wouldn't have hired a lot of the mid-level engineers I've worked for because they don't have the experience needed to run the role and they have no interest in learning. They want to be a leader without learning how to lead what they're doing. And I think that's the biggest problem with the mid-level in engineering right now is leadership is what is screamed at you. If you are good at anything in your category of engineering, they're going to start priming you for leadership as early as a level 2 engineer. When you're in level 3, they're going to start showing you the leadership development programs and everything you could ever possibly need so that they can prime you to be in their role next. And honestly, sometimes I wonder if they ever really think, do you even want to be in this position? Some people are not cut out to be in leadership roles. They just want to put their head down, do their job, and go do shit outside of work. And that is okay. It should be normalized, in my opinion, to not want to climb the corporate ladder, to not want to hustle. Because in reality, the job you choose is just a job. It is a paycheck to make ends meet. And sometimes it doesn't even do that. So, why would you spend countless hours destroying your mental and physical health in a leadership position you never wanted in the first place just because someone said you should? It doesn't need to be that way. You don't need to be in leadership to be successful. And if you truly enjoy your job and it's not just a paycheck like it is for most of us, good for you. You still might not want to climb the corporate ladder. You may not want to be in leadership. You may not want to be responsible for other people's career development. I am one of those people that enjoy being in the technical, but I also enjoy teaching new people. However, like I've said 500 times before, I absolutely will not train people who have no interest. You have to come to me on my specific area of expertise. Obviously, if I was a manager, that's a whole different story entirely because then it's part of my job. But right now, where it is not part of my job to train everybody and anybody on how to do what I do, if you show no interest and you don't come to me with specific questions, I'm not fucking helping you. I'm sorry, that's not my job. Go ask someone else. And that may sound absolutely harsh and stupid, and I don't know what I'm doing. But I'm tired of people getting hired into positions, especially those that are above me, but even lateral to me, where they have no idea what the fuck they're doing and they should. Why would you give that senior level position to someone who's never done the work? That makes no fucking sense to me. And this is kind of, I started this as a rant about the mid level, right? If you're so focused on being in leadership because everyone tells you that's what your career development should be, you're not focused on learning the new, the bold, the advancements to be able to truly lead a team in today's day and age. You're not focused on how can we use AI to make this job better? How can we utilize the tools and resources available to us already and improve upon them? You're not focused on, I need to go get this training so that I can get qualified or be an expert in this particular topic that I need for my job. You're just focused on telling other people what the fuck they need to do. And those type of coworkers are honestly the worst. The lateral ones that'll come and act like they're your manager, just that was Tweedledum. I haven't talked about that experience in a very long time because honestly, at this point, I'm not living it anymore. I don't have to deal with that, and I have recovered from it. I can use that experience as anecdotal, just fun bullshit, but I never want to be put in a position at work where I am forced to choose between my mental health and my job ever again. That experience taught me something that I never thought I would have to learn in the workforce. Choosing between your mental health, even your physical health, and your job is a no brainer decision. I don't care what your paycheck is, personally speaking, obviously within reason. I'm not telling people to go quit their jobs because they have a toxic boss. Create a plan, find your answer, whatever it is, even if it means spending 50 hours a week applying to new jobs. I don't know what your solution is, and I'm not trying to give you one. But do not choose your mental and physical health over a job. I said that backwards. Don't choose the job over your mental and physical health because at the end of the day, the job will replace you in a second and your mental and physical health will be hard to recover. Take it from someone who has been working 3+ years to recover her physical health after a really bad mental health downward spiral. The physical will come back to bite you in the ass. The mental will make the physical worse. They all play together. And none of that is worth the job that will replace you in 2 seconds and could not give a fuck about you. The inflated self-importance people have about their jobs, especially in this industry, is wild to me. I'm an engineer and I make that my entire fucking personality. When we started this podcast, my co-host came into town for something. I think it was a wedding or something. I don't remember. But she came into town and we met up and we did some stuff in person. And there was this trend going around on TikTok. And if you follow our TikTok, you saw us do it. It's the I'm a whatever, this happens kind of trend. I guess voice actors are coming it now, but it was a trend across the board in all industries at the time. And we recorded it. And I turned to her, I was like, I really don't want to do this trend because it made me feel like I was making being an engineer my entire personality. That all of the hardships you go through at work are just, that's your personality now. And I don't want to be that. And even sometimes recording this podcast, it makes me feel like I'm making being an engineer and being a female engineer that deals with corporate bullshit my entire personality. And it's not. I enjoy my time outside of work more so than I enjoy my time inside of work. And that was kind of a big sign to me that I needed to get out and find something new and find something I actually enjoy. Because if you're going to do something until you basically die, because retirement is not really an option anymore for this generation in the US, you should enjoy it. It shouldn't tax your mental and physical health like some of our jobs do. You should want to go and help people. You should want to be a part of the community that your job is a part of. And I say community loosely because, yeah, coworkers are coworkers, not friends, unless they turn into friends. And generally, for me speaking, they don't. But that's also because I have no enjoyment around most engineers. I am rolling my eyes. I won't go out because my husband also has zero enjoyment around other engineers. So we don't go to work events together because I'm not going to go to a work event by myself. That's silly. And I realized that pretty early on, but I didn't realize how big of a difference it would make that I didn't enjoy being around these people. So I wasn't going to climb up the ladder as I once thought I wanted to. I thought I wanted to be top leaders on programs and be a part of this community that I worked for. And then I really started working for them and realized I have no interest. I'd rather be at home watching my husband build go-karts than ever spend an hour at a bar with a bunch of my coworkers. And that sounds horrible. That sounds like I work for Evil Incorporated or something like that. I just don't enjoy their company. And I thought I just didn't enjoy people's company in general until I went to Coaching Con this weekend. Coaching Con was a 3.5-ish day event that was all day. And I was fucking exhausted. Because for those who know me, know I am introverted as fuck. Leaving my house is difficult on most occasions. But I was hyped. I was fueled. I had immediate action to go home and take. And yes, it was a conference. That's their whole point. Obviously, I know this. That is literally what they do at conferences. They try to hype you up. But I felt fueled throughout the day because I was with my people. I have joined a community of people now that are, as they put it at the conference, 1%ers. And those are the type of people that make me feel good. Obviously, you have to find your own people. This was just an example from my own life experiences. If where you're working isn't those people, maybe look into different industries or create an exit strategy or create your own thing. I don't know what to tell you because I created my own thing, or I'm working on it. I have made a commitment to create my own empire because I'm tired of being looked down upon and told that I'm less than because I don't want to interact with the people that make me feel like shit. I want to be lifted up and hyped up and be a part of a community that not only helps people, but helps me feel better. I don't want to be a part of a place where when I say, hey, I'm running a little low on work and I'm kind of bored, their response is, oh, okay. I want to constantly be challenged. And when I'm no longer challenged, that is a problem. And that may not be everyone. People don't necessarily want to be challenged by their job. They just want to go through the motions. And that's fine. That is fine if that is what you like. But that's not what I like. And that's not what a lot of people like. And having that realization that no longer being challenged by what I do is the reason I kind of hate what I do was my sign to start slowly finding a different route in life. Everything is different for different people. It's one of my favorite phrases being a fitness coach as well as an engineer. I always say the word, it depends. I need more context. I need a different perspective, right? As a fitness coach, every client I have ever had is wildly different. None of them needed the same amount of support, the same structure to their programming, the same, they all had different equipment and different nutrition needs and different perspectives on how their behaviors function. Because a lot of the fitness space is behavioral. You learn a lot about a person while you're coaching them and how they interact with different methods. And sometimes it's trial and error. I have a client that it took us 6 months to find the right nutrition perspective. But now we've found it and things are just clicking and rolling. And that is where I love to be. And if I could do that as an engineer, and in some cases I can, but not always because I don't control my own path, that is where things change for me is when I see the light bulbs clicking. And I don't know if anybody else out there is like that, but that's the challenge I need. And mid-level of engineering wants you just to sit around and tell other people what to do. And I would rather get in the trenches. I am in the trench helping you build whatever you need to build. I'm in the trench helping you if you need time off. But no one has ever been in the trenches with me. At the higher level, at least. I've definitely had team members at the same level or lower than me in the trenches dealing with the bullshit. But the higher level always expected me to be something. But this has always been a weird experience for me because I've never been a technical leadership, right? I didn't have the code that says I was a leader for HR, but I also couldn't complain and be in the trenches with my peers. I felt extremely lost in my early career because of that. I was expected to perform like a leader, but didn't have any community at my level. I still feel like this, even now, because my community of people that do what I do is very small. My co host is one of them, and it's great to have some people. But as we've talked about in the past, my co host was under me. She was a part of my team. She's rising up the ranks quickly. And now I would consider her at my level without literally being at my level. But those senior level, I have no one. That mid level is really hard to hire. So there's not a lot of people in the mid level to begin with. But mid level with my experience in my specialty is few and far between. And that is hard to deal with. You are a lone wolf most of the time in a team full of people. They want you to work in a team, but you're the lone wolf that has to take care of everybody. And I'm tired of taking care of everybody. I'm tired of being, and I guess leave a review or a comment if you resonate with this. I'm tired of being the one that everybody comes to and being the one that can't go to anybody. And some of that is my own, I don't want to look stupid, so I won't ask questions to people. But a lot of it is I don't have a community of people as an engineer that I can go to and get help from. I'm on the upper end of the community where I'm supposed to be the one helping everybody else, which is fine. But it is very annoying and disheartening to me. This is my own personal experience to be the person that has to help everybody but can't get any help for themselves. I have very few resources at the upper level that I can go to help, and most of those resources have their own day jobs, and you might hear from them 4 days later. So I don't feel like I'm growing anymore, and I want to continue to grow. I don't want to be stagnant. I want to continue to grow as a person, as an engineer, really just as a human. I want to grow educationally, change my mental and physical health, and try to be a more positive person and not such a pessimistic asshole. But when I am in the work environment, that's all I feel like. I don't want to feel like that anymore. I don't know if other people out there who are listening to this feel that way about their workplace, that they have hit a wall where they're no longer growing and don't have the resources available to them. But if you do, know that I understand you. I understand what it's like to feel stuck, to feel like you have no one in your corner, to feel like you're alone because you can't commiserate with your peers at the lower level, but you're not in leadership and get to talk shit about all of the lower level. You're in this weird place where you're not in the room, but you're also not on the outside. I understand that completely. And I wish I had better advice for you other than find a way to grow. Find your water. Just sprout some roots. Whether it be changing industries, changing jobs, changing teams, asking for more. I know I struggle with that, asking, putting in boundaries with your workplace that previously you didn't have, and that will help you create a life outside of work that is entertaining so that you can put up with the monotony of being at a job. Whatever it is for you, just know that there are people in your corner. They might not be at work, but I completely understand where you are at because I'm there too. Not feeling challenged and not growing, whether it be at work, outside of work, just life in general, whatever your version of growing means to you, being in that stagnant place can be mentally destructive. Or at least for me, it is. I will start picking fights with all of the relationships I do have because I don't feel like I have anyone in my corner and I'm alone and I need to just destroy everything in my path because nothing is good enough. And I've seen myself do that on multiple occasions, and it's usually because I'm bored as fuck. And realizing that has brought me to this chaotic world that I am creating with the cosplay stuff because that keeps me entertained. It's something I am actively not good at. I've gotten better as I've done more and more cosplays, and that's why I challenged myself to do a cosplay a week because it gets my hands in the sewing machine. It gets my hands working with moldable foam. It gets my hands working with wigs because if I tilted my camera up, that wig is a hot mess right now, and I have to have it done by the end of tonight. So that's fun. This is your new life, and this is my new life. What comes out of some of the decisions I made at Coaching Con, I'll let you guys know when I get there. But I'm excited for it and terrified at the same time. Being praised to be invisible your entire life, it is hard to come out in the open and be visible as fuck. To be fully uniquely you, whether it is, in my case, being a theater kid that went fitness and also is an engineer. How a theater kid became an engineer, I'll never fucking know. But I did. And I love it. But I've hid that about myself. Until Has-Been Hotel came out, which, yes, it is a hyperfixation, and I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing about it. But until Has-Been Hotel, for those watching on YouTube, I'm wearing an angel, or not watching on YouTube, I'm wearing an angel dust beanie. Until that reignited my love for theater and musical arts and being a fucking actor, dumbass. Sorry, I had to finish the line from Angel Dust. I totally forgot what it's like to just purely enjoy being, as the internet puts it, fucking cringy. I don't get to be that person at work. I have to put on this face. And maybe other engineers out there feel this. We are expected to be a very certain type of person. And even as the world continues to grow and rules like no piercings and no tattoos in a professional work setting are beginning to change, that doesn't mean the mindset of those we interact with on a daily basis change. I am covered in tattoos because I love the expression of art. I love vivid hair colors because it just makes me happy. I don't do it because I don't do the maintenance thing, but I love it. And the judgment that has come my way being an engineer in a professional space because I have tattoos was something I was fully prepared for and why I hide them. And it's fucking exhausting. To be someone I'm not daily is mentally not good. Masking is a category of things that I wasn't expecting to explore when I became an engineer. But what I didn't realize is I've been masking my entire fucking life. College was nothing but a mask. I was masking everything and anything I possibly could about myself. From the time I graduated high school till about a year ago, when I finally gave up caring, when I got into this content space, my early content was very unhinged because I didn't think anybody was watching me. I didn't really care if I called out family members who were dickwads to me and they saw it. And I'm moving back into that mentality. I do not care if people think that my opinions on being an engineer are absolutely twisted and sideways because this is my experience. I am no longer going to continue to be invisible just because people want me to be. Being visible is terrifying, but I don't care anymore. I don't care that someone wants to put me in a box and put me in a corner and tell me that I am just here to do the thing, that I am too abrasive and too loud and too, I don't fucking know, but I've gotten every version of it because I will tell people to their face that they're being fucking dickwads. Not in those exact words, obviously, but you get what I mean. I am done people pleasing in this space and masking to the point that I don't know who I am anymore. This space, while it has brought great opportunity, I can't say it hasn't. Being an engineer has destroyed my personality. I became one of the many, and it used to infuriate me because it felt like every performance review that came up, everything was just about my personality. It was about interactions I had with other people because they pissed me the fuck off after months of trying to gaslight me that no one wanted to admit was happening. No one ever wanted to hear my side of the story. They just blamed me. And maybe that's due to some neurodivergence I didn't know I had, or maybe it's just who I am. But I'm fucking done. The world as it exists right now is exhausting enough as it is. Why be someone you're not just to get a promotion? Why sit at a desk and behave when you know you're never going to get it anyway? You're always going to be a slave to somebody else, and that's never growth, in my opinion. Yeah, you can move up the corporate ladder, but at what point does that destroy you so much mentally and physically that you've lost who you are and everything you stand for? Because that's what I personally believe being an engineer has done to me. I have become one of the crowd in the attempt not to offend anybody. And I want to offend everybody. Not literally, but you know what I mean. I have opinions. They're probably weird and not well liked. But you know what? I don't think that matters anymore. The reason I thrived when we went remote was because I had a mute button that I could literally say the words, fuck you, you idiot. That's not how it works. I can't do that in a corporate setting. My husband always wonders why I complain about being in corporate life. And I literally always turn to him and go, Because unlike you, I can't tell my boss to fuck off and be fine the next day. Masking has taken a bigger toll on my career, but also just on me than I ever thought it would. Because on top of being a theater kid who went fitness and is also an engineer, my aesthetic is also very goth. I love everything alternative when it comes to clothing, but I can't wear that in a corporate environment. And honestly, being visible on social media can be a problem sometimes for corporate entities, which is why I said being visible is terrifying when you've been praised to be invisible your entire fucking life, told to just be in a corner and say yes ma'am and no ma'am and yes sir and no sir and be smaller than you are. I have been praised for the fact that when someone tells me I can't do something is usually the time that I do it. I am stubborn as fuck, and being told no is not an option for me. Within reason, don't come at me. I want to be bigger than what being an engineer provides. But the skill set that I gained from being an engineer will fuel everything and anything that I build. So, like I said last week, do I regret it? No. I don't regret being an engineer because it's brought me so much. It allowed me to buy my house at the beginning of the pandemic. It allowed me to build a soon to be, other than my mortgage, debt free life. It allowed me to make connections with people that I never probably would have made connections with. And the same could be said about my experience with the Dragon Lady team. There are connections I made there that I never would have made had I never left the business that I'm with now. Had I not explored new options, I wouldn't have run into new people. So I can't say I regret. I don't live life with regrets, but I do learn from my experience. And at this point, I've learned masking takes a bigger toll on me than I ever would have thought. I will always have massive depressive episodes. And this is really, it's turning into therapy hour with KC at this point. But this is what I'm feeling coming off of Coaching Con. And the world needs to, I really hate the stupid reaction things. For those who have Apple devices, why did Apple create the reactions? Because those who are watching on YouTube have seen that thumb up and thumb down, even though I'm not even using my hands. So the tracker has gotten worse on this. They keep appearing, which is just kind of funny, in my opinion, due to the topic that I'm talking about. But back to the original point, because I got distracted. Masking took a massive toll on me and my career and my interactions with other people I work with, because I constantly felt like I had to be someone I wasn't. When I was on a team of mostly females, they wanted to be coffee girlies that watched The Bachelor. And I wasn't like that. They were all like, single and I was married. I just have never fit in with my age group, my degree group. And it was nice to finally feel like I fit in somewhere and didn't have to mask. I never would have thought a beanie with a video game character on it would start a conversation at a fitness conference. But it did. Not a beanie, a jacket. Either way, you get the point. I was wearing the engineering chaos gremlin sweatshirt that will be available eventually that we got samples of to try. It is the comfiest jacket on the planet. I'm not trying to sell anything. That's just legit. I was wearing that at the fitness conference. And I wasn't expecting anyone to know angel dust on my beanie because I did wear this one day or the heartless on my jacket. And my jacket started a conversation. I am a caffeine addict, and one of the sponsors was First Form. I started a lot of different conversations with people at First Form, just getting up and getting free caffeine. I relate to these people. They are my crowd. Fuck. I tried to start controversy on Threads the other day, saying that gamers and fitness enthusiasts are basically the same people with different obsessions. And I found a whole crowd of people that agree with me rather than disagree. I've never experienced that as an engineer. And maybe it's just the industry, or maybe it's me. Masking is my worst enemy, and I don't want to do it anymore. There's a difference between politeness and professionalism and masking. And I have to mask because no one will take me seriously, who I am. If I put my background up at work, or if I talked obsessively about Has Been Hotel like I do here. I have found community within gaming on Twitch, being in the coaching space, and being in the cosplay space. All of which eventually merge and cross over in weird ways. But without engineering, which I don't have a community in, I wouldn't be able to build my cosplays. Well, without engineering, I probably. Nope, that's really the only one. I was about to say I wouldn't be a gamer, but that's not true. Because I started gaming long before I had any interest. But I built a lot of great relationships in school, and over the years, there have been a few coworkers that have stayed in my life outside of work. Forcefully, on their own accord, they have made their way into my life for the most part. Because I'm not usually the one to make that interaction. But now I know why. And I feel like there's at least someone out there that resonates with this, that got into engineering maybe for the money, like I did, and is now working the job day in and day out and just have no motivation to be a part of that community. They struggle to connect and communicate with the people they work with. And I feel you. Not only is masking hard, but when you have no connection points to the people you work with, it becomes even more difficult. And maybe you're not an engineer, but you just resonate with that message in whatever industry you're in. You're not the only one, and I'm sure you know that. But this is just a new beginning for me, for my content space. Obviously, this format will probably stay mostly the same. I might adjust it a little bit as we go on, because I will have the co host back. But we're starting over, and we're going to be a completely different person by this time next year. If you're on that journey with me, feel free to reach out and say hi. Alrighty, y'all. That was therapy hour, basically. I just have a lot of feelings coming off of Coaching Con. Obviously, it's a conference. They're meant to hype you up, but I had some really good interactions, and I'm continuing to have some really good interactions with people there. Some of the speakers had some really just. Yes, some of the things might not be revolutionary, right? And Milet was one of the speakers, and he made a statement that said, "Weird equals rich. Walking the lonely road," basically. And that hit me in the face. I've never really masked on this podcast, as those of you who've listened for a while and heard my commentary about people watching corn while working from home. Masking on this podcast, this podcast isn't the place for that. And I really don't mask in my content other than in the fitness space. And now I'm not going to do that anymore. I used to mask a lot in that content, and I'm not doing it anymore. So this and my live streaming is usually the two places that I'm very unmasked and unhinged and unfiltered, unfortunately, because I am an explicit queen. I drink like a sailor and swear like a pirate. I don't know. I don't think that's. I don't fucking know. That's who I am. And I will forever be this person. And my vibes after Coaching Con are completely different. I sat in a room with millionaires, and now I'm on a mission to become one. Realistically, that is the answer. I am on a mission to be completely debt free, including my mortgage. And it might sound crazy, but it's doable. I am already a 1%er. Let's just take that and amplify it. If you resonate with this, maybe it's time for you to take that and amplify it. Whatever your 1% option is. But all in all, I am excited for my co host to be back. It is hard to talk by yourself. I could talk for hours and hours about random topics, but to keep myself within the confines of this podcast and keep it very like work relationships and engineering, and not talk just about random bullshit for hours on end, is hard. I love the banter that we have, and I love being able to just go back and forth and poke at her different opinions, and we are best as a duo. And while I don't mind keeping up the mantle while she's gone because I want her to recover and be happy and healthy, I need my co-host back. Because as we can see today, it turned into therapy hour because I had no plan. Vibes are different around here, and that's all I really have to say. So, as always, if you resonated with this comment, feel free to say hi in the comments or reach out to us at Engineering Chaos Pod on Instagram and TikTok, or engineeringchaospod at Gmail for our email. And if you need any health and fitness help, you can also reach out to me at It's Coach KC on just about everything: Instagram, TikTok. I have a Facebook, but I don't really check it, so I wouldn't go there. But also, just as a casual reminder, and it is linked in the show notes. I know this. It is linked in the description for YouTube and show notes for Spotify and other platforms like that. You can come hang out with us in the Discord. I provide fitness tips, obviously, because I'm also a fitness coach, but there are engineers, gamers, people looking to get fit, and nerds of any variety alike in that Discord, and we're trying to grow it and have a little community of chaos gremlins. So if you enjoy our content here, please click the link to the Discord and come hang out with us. I'm trying to build a very active, fun, and bumping community that also educates, where there will be live events and all sorts of fun stuff in the future. So if you enjoy us, please go click the Discord and come have fun with us. So that is all for this week, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully I will have my podcast host back, because this is hard. But that is all, and goodbye.